guys, this is John with Area 419.
This is Craig.
I'm excited to introduce you to a product that we've been working on for almost a year now, the Maverick Recoil Suppression System.
Guys, typically we do these videos in about a minute to make them quick. This is going to be a much longer video because we want to talk about why it was made, how it was made, and things like that. But if you've only got a minute, here's what you need to know. This is the Maverick Recoil Suppression System. It's a modular system. What will come in the box will be the serialized part, the suppressor. There will be a brake adapter to it, as well as a stage 2 suppression end cap. This whole package will start to be available for pre-order around 1/1, and we'll start production immediately. The goal was, and we think we've accomplished it, to in a brake format give you nearly all the control of a muzzle device, a muzzle brake like the Sidewinder, as well as the comfort that you look for in shooting a suppressor in a PRS match, as well as the versatility of having a stage 2 suppressor system. So now that we've got that out of the way, you got your high points. I want to go back to the beginning and let John talk a little bit about why did this happen? How did we start this?
So this all started on the Flight Out the SHOT Show last year of all places. Craig and I were discussing how can we get the recoil that everybody wants, the recoil reduction, the muzzle control that everybody wants out of a brake in a suppressor package. The problem is if a suppressor is doing its job effectively, which, to get into it, the job of a suppressor is to disturb all the gases coming out of the muzzle as much as possible so that they can expand, cool down, and slowly exit the muzzle. Therein lies the problem. A muzzle brake does its job by taking the high velocity, expanding gases that are coming directly out of the muzzle. They redirect the gases either sideways or backwards like our Sidewinder and Hellfire do. This creates a reaction that keeps the muzzle down, pulls the barrel forward, and reduces the recoil. Well, recoil really isn't a problem for us. Muzzle control is the biggest thing that PRS guys look for. Recoil is just a byproduct. The gun's coming backwards, it's pivoting on your shoulder, and the muzzle's coming up. You want to keep your optic on the target so you can see your impacts, see your misses, make corrections.
And this was around the time that there was another suppressor that had just hit the market, and people were buying them, waiting to get their hands on them. Some are still waiting. And they talked about being able to control recoil with a suppressor. We agreed that's not really possible. So the conversation turned to, okay, how do we reimagine what a suppressor is or what a muzzle device is in a world where people like suppressors and people like brakes that can give us the inherent control of a brake at the muzzle, but also give us the comfort that people like when they're shooting suppressed.
So where this went was, let's step back a minute. If you take a full-size suppressor, let's say this Thunder Beast Ultra 7, excellent suppressor. If we were to take this muzzle brake, stick it on the end here, the only difference you would probably notice is the extra weight of this hanging on here. The gases are coming out so slowly out of here that they're just not going to cause a reaction that does anything. So what we've done here is we've created this first stage of the Maverick. This is the suppressor. This is the NFA serialized item. This by itself does not make anything as quiet as either one of these. It's actually still somewhat loud. What it allows to happen is we knock down the brunt of that explosion coming out of the barrel, and we still allow some of those high velocity gases through so that when they get to the muzzle brake here, they can actually still do work. We'll probably clip in a screenshot of the gases coming out of this so you can see how well it's actually working. We also chose not to redirect anything backwards on this brake because we're going for this compromise between control and sound. Any little bit that we angle this back is just going to make it a little bit more uncomfortable for the guy next to you or possibly for the shooter. And what we were really worried about is just muzzle control. So you can see there's much more material on the bottom of this than there is on the top. That's going to cause a lot of the gases to come up at an angle like this.
When we talk about that compromise, we put on Facebook Let's see, this thing's releasing on Friday morning. So about 2 weeks ago now, a week and a half ago now, a question: do you run a brake or do you run a suppressor and a match, and why do you do each? And we took a handful of the responses that were indicative of what we felt. I'll shoot, I think, 10 2-day matches this year, and I always feel like on Sunday evening I've been punched in the face for 2 days. And that we saw a lot. We had guys like Sean said that he went to suppressors 2 years ago because he kept getting headaches, and then he went to double ear pro, and it still didn't matter. There's an article written by Mark from Accurate Ordnance, which is a terrific article, that at the end of the day, the concussion itself, the actual pressure waves, are hitting you, and double ear pro can cut that sound, but you still feel like you're getting beat on a bit. And what Sean said here, and some of these other guys said, is they know they're taking a recoil penalty, or what we see as a muzzle control penalty, to do it. But if they're more comfortable over the course of those couple days, as well as it's a healthier thing for them to do over the course of seasons or a decade or a lifetime, it makes more sense for them to shoot suppressed.
Something to keep in mind here, that this is not hearing safe, nor is any of this. Suppressors may sound comfortable, they're still not hearing safe. Unfortunately, at a 2-day match, you've got guys from California, New York, Canada. You're never going to be at a match that is 100% suppressed. So you're going to be wearing ear protection anyway. We kept that in mind when finding the compromise between sound and muzzle control. So what we find, this could be shot 2 days with just a set of foamy earplugs in comfortably. If you shoot it without ears, it's still going to hurt a little bit, but you don't feel that just punch in the chest like you do with a muzzle brake. So we did some testing with a high-speed camera. We were watching from the side a single point on a muzzle brake barrel suppressor, and we measured how that point moves during the recoil. It was free recoiling on a tripod, so it would bounce up, and you'll see a graph overlaid here. You can see how it's going to come up, it's going to bounce around a little bit, and then stabilize out. So a muzzle brake works very quickly. The gas is immediately at its disposal to create the reaction in the whole system. So what a lot of guys notice with muzzle brakes is it's a very sharp recoil reduction. Your barrel doesn't move, but it all happens very quickly. We're talking milliseconds here. A suppressor like this, you're going to see more movement, but it's going to be slower. The graph will be longer, lower, or a higher peak, but over more time. Normally you see about 50 to 55% from a good quality muzzle brake. The suppressors end up around 30%, and that's total recoil reduction. What we found is this right here performs exactly the same in our testing as the Sidewinder.
And when we say the same, there are two planes that we're looking at in how a rifle moves. There's that x-axis that is pure recoil like you'd see on a sled. The guys set up the test, a lot of different brakes, they shoot and say, how far back did it move? But what we know is important is recoil control when it's on your body, of not only how much is she moving back, but how much is that muzzle flipping, because your bore line is typically going to be above your shoulder, so it's gonna flip back on you. What we've been able to do to make that gap in performance, because this will always reduce more recoil than this, is focus on the trade-off between that gun tracking back and that gun popping up. And it's our goal that with the Maverick system, and we feel we've accomplished it. We've done a lot of side-by-side shooting testing. We obviously the high-speed camera work, that we're able to create a nice, even track of the gun moving back in a manner that's pretty controllable. It takes place over a little bit more time so that you have an opportunity to drive that gun, and you get just a bit of that push that people talk about with a traditional suppressor. One of the things that we also like about the system, it utilizes our Sidewinder and will also be available in Hellfire mount systems. This gives us a really repeatable lockup back and forth. It's all left-hand thread. One of the complaints about suppressors is people feel that they can come loose over the course of the match. In reality, our left-hand thread adapters with right-hand twist barrels, as nearly all of us are running, they're going to keep a nice positive lock on that suppressor, and it's one that's going to work really well for you over the course of a couple days. We also took into consideration the idea that some people like suppressors because they want to be able to practice with them. If you're in the backyard or on the farm or with your buddies, whatever you're doing, you might all want to shoot suppressed, which is handy, so you don't have to wear ears and you can communicate. But at some point, you're going to want to take that second stage off, that suppression stage, and go to a match where you'll want to run the brake. The final weight of the product between the second stage, the second suppression stage, and the brake end cap will be very, very, very close to the same. And what we have observed is that that gives us the ability to go from one configuration to the other with a point of impact shift that is really, really small. We'll never say zero because zero is a very funny word, but a very, very small point of impact shift that would allow you to switch from one to another on your way to match day, stay in your load, keep your accuracy potential, and get a really solid product that allows you to balance doing both.
Something I forgot to mention, it was probably obvious when I took it off, but the way this muzzle brake works on the end here is the same patented system of our Sidewinders and Hellfires. So this module is going to time wherever it wants. There's no timing there, but you'll be able to rotate the brake and it'll lock down on the taper just like the Hellfire system does. And as well, we like tapers because they keep everything nice and straight. This also helps to align our second stage here. We've got some surfaces in here that lock onto this taper and give us the ability to produce a very, very, very concentric suppressor here. So every prototype we've run so far, we've thrown on the lathe with a dialed in barrel. We're seeing less than 10 thousandths of run out at the end cap. To get into the nuts and bolts here, this is a non-welded suppressor, so both tubes are machined from 100% solid bar stock, grade 5 titanium. So we're able to keep everything extremely true inside of here. All the parts, every single part in this device has a taper on it. So every baffle interfaces with the next baffle via a taper. The rear end cap interfaces with a taper. It just makes for extremely straight and repeatable results when it comes to concentricity, which, as you can imagine, is very important when we're talking about precision rifle.
We talked about materials. Our stage 2 suppression modules are 100% titanium. The first stage is fully titanium outside of the first baffle. The blast baffle on these is stainless. And then the brake, collar, ring, things of that nature are stainless steel. And it allows us to balance largely cost, weight, the quality of material you want for certain items to put us in a package that is going to be, whether you configure it like this or if you configure it like this, going to be right around 15 ounces. Right now, where we are in design and production is we are making our final changes and we're going to take this into production. The 2-stage suppressor, as I hold in my hand right now, is 7 inches in production. In reality, this is going to be an 8-inch suppressor. We're adding a little bit more space to give us a little bit more suppression ability. One thing to keep in mind is for us to make the stage 1 in a manner that allows the brake to be effective, we're having to, in some ways, inhibit the ability of the suppressor to suppress. So what we intend to have with the suppressor is a quality suppressor, one that sounds good and is comfortable, and is reasonably useful. There will be quieter suppressors on the market, but we think that this one will be, from a precision standpoint, one that is unmatched in its quality and obviously in its versatility to somebody that's shooting in a match setting.
The stage 2 modules, we haven't fully decided on all the different options, but these will be caliber specific. So the first stage is going to be likely 30 caliber. So you would buy one stage or first stage for everything, and then you would select, when you go to buy the product, you would select a 6.5 suppression module or a 30 suppression module. We've got some ideas for future additions to this product line. Maybe a lighter weight brake for the hunting guys out there. We didn't really worry about weight with this one because it's the trend of PRS right now is to make things as heavy as possible. It also allows us to make this tiny thing here compared to this the same exact weight. So we've got some ideas for additions, and being so modular, it's really easy to add things onto it.
We don't plan for this unit to hit production as a user serviceable unit, but it will be one that we can service with relative ease in shop. So if the time ever comes that there's some sort of damage, or you've gotten a baffle strike because you're shooting something that wasn't stable or whatever it is, we're going to be able to provide timely, reasonably costed service to these, as well as, say the time comes and we figure out there's something else we can do inside the suppressor. We'll be able. These are something that's future upgradable. We're looking forward to understanding that what we learned about suppressors in the past 6 or 8 months obviously isn't complete. What we've learned about this system obviously isn't complete, but we know that what we'll be able to do with the system is keep you on the cutting edge of what we're able to create from a recoil suppression system. Guys, we're going to put up a product on the website that won't have any price. You won't be able to buy it, but you will be able to sign up for the wait list for these, so that as we make updates and say, hey, we're going to start taking pre-orders this time, there's some dealer orders shipping out here, we're going to have a special promotion for guys shooting in the PRS finale starting, this is Friday, so tomorrow. We're going to start to have these moving out to guys sooner rather than later. Again, we expect full production to begin during the month of December, and ordering to be able to take place around 1/1. We're really excited about it. I mean, this is for us it's a big project.
Yeah, we take the production side of things seriously. We actually bought the machines needed to do this long before we ever started making them. So we're ready to go, and we just got to nail down the final design, and we're going to start cranking these things out.
So guys, if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments below. We're going to have a link to be able to read more, see more, watch this video, watch some other content that we'll put together on the suppressor system, and sign up on the wait list. We look forward to getting these in you guys' hands. You'll start seeing them at matches or as demo units out with other Class 3s or SOTs. But yeah, if you got any questions, just let us know. We'll do a live stream sometime next week to let guys ask questions and answer things as we can in real time.
Thanks for watching.